Mazda LM55 VGT race car in VR. Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting race here in Gran Turismo 7 at OpenFed Gaming with me, the OpenFed. We're driving a Mazda LM55 VGT in a Group 1 prototype series race. We're at the Circuit de Sainte-Croix on the C tracks. We're doing 8 laps. We started 20 cars and we started with a rolling start. Now I'm pretty sure that we can't do all 8 laps on one tank full. I think we can do 7, but it's really stretching it if we want to do that 8th lap. So I think we're going to have to fuel up somewhere through the race. And I'm pretty sure most, if not all, the cars on the track are going to have to do the same thing. So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll fuel up after the 4th lap, and because I'm not sure how much the tires will wear down, so we'll just split it in half. Now, the first thing I like to preach and I like to preach it to myself more than anybody else, is where is the pit stop entrance? If you're not quite sure where it is, take this first lap, refamiliarize yourself with the track. Now the laps are quite lengthy, so it's going to take a little while. You know, refamiliarize yourself with the track and keep an eye out when you come around to the finish of the first lap to see where the entrance is to the pit stop. Also take a look at where the exit is and see if you can just hammer down when you come out, or if there's a corner coming up shortly after you leave the pit. You know, those kinds of things are a little bit helpful, especially when you're at the end of your 4th lap and you want to go in and you miss the entrance. So we don't want to do that. So we like to be prepared. But in the meantime, just try and pick off a guy here and there. Keep up with the main pack. It's going to be a decent length race at 8 laps, so we don't have to get too excited. Pick off a car here and there if we can. And there's a few straight sections like this one right here that are just absolutely fantastic for passing. This car is like greased lightning. It is so fast. It's just too bad that orangey car got in front of him, and now we're too close to the corner, so you don't want to go screaming to the corner at 300 kilometers an hour and not knowing if you're going to be able to make the turn. So we'll wait till the next time around. We've got 8 laps, like I said. So we'll have our opportunity to rip down that long straight section again. And as for the rest of the track here, it's a nice wide track. Now, not that that's going to help you any as far as passing is concerned. It's going to help you navigate the corners. There's room to pass, but because these cars go at such high speed, there really isn't much of an opportunity. Every once in a while, if you're right behind a guy and he's going around a corner a little bit slower than normal, then maybe you might have to, oh, I think he almost tried to run me off the track there. So we did sneak by him over there, and this is right on the right-hand side there is where your pit entrance is, and your exit is not much further right here on the right-hand side. So make sure when you come out of the pit too that there's not somebody driving in your exit lane. Hopefully you won't crash into anybody as you're coming out of the pit stop, having to go right back in again. Anyhow, hopefully that won't happen. We are in our 2nd lap, and this here section is also a nice straight section where you can pass, but it's kind of deceiving where the corner is. So I always start slowing down well before I get to the corner, and moving up in the pack is really not an issue at the moment, being only in our 2nd lap. We've got lots of time. Looks like a beautiful day out there, gorgeous blue sky up ahead. The sun is just coming up. It's an early morning race, I take it. It's just gorgeous out. Now, as we're coming around these corners, like I said, it's very difficult to pass in these corners, and just for the sake of keeping a nice clean race, I like to stay behind them and take my time. What I used to, when I used to race, I always wanted to win the race in the first lap. Now, as you know, you can't do that. But then again, what did I know? I still don't know all that much about racing now, but when I got 20 cars in the field, me included. That's 19 cars I got to pass if I want to win. And you got 8 laps. Then you know you're going to have to pass 3 cars per lap to be able to be in the front. So that's my goal. I like to spread out the attack across the amount of laps that we got to do, and then when we get near the end of the race and I get near the front of the pack, I always like to keep somebody, just somebody, 1 or 2 cars right in front of me, and then that way they set the pace for the race, and I just drive as fast as they drive, just stick with them until the last lap, and then I try to pass them then. Unless, of course, you can tell that it's a difficult car to pass, then you don't wait. But I like to have a pace car in front of me because my biggest problem is that when I'm in the lead, if I can't see anybody in my rearview mirror, even if I can, I don't always pay attention. Now, do you love the way that they block you out like this too? You see this guy right in front of me was going back and forth until he knew I couldn't pass him anymore because we got too close to the corner. It's tricky driving, I think, eh? But that's okay, we'll catch him up ahead here. Anyhow, when I'm following a pace car, that pace car sets the speed of the race, and if I'm in front, I never know how fast to set the pace for it. I don't want to set it so fast that I start to drive erratic and I start to drive off the track, but I also don't want to go so slow that cars catch up to me from behind and I'm passing, like they have done many times before. And I believe that they even do it to me in this race. I just forget to pay attention to the rearview mirror and I just start driving a little bit slower. And that's my biggest problem when I'm in the lead. But we don't have to worry about that just yet because we are just finishing our second lap. And I doubt if we've passed 19 cars, so we still got quite a few in front of us that we need to catch up to if we can manage to do that. I mean, it's not easy. These guys really zip away on it. It's a really fast race and you really have to pay attention and concentrate. When you're on the straights like this, it's not too bad. You catch up to them and you kind of sneak around them. If you know exactly where the corner is, which there again, like I said, I always try to slow down a little bit on this particular track before I get to that corner. It's pretty sharp corner and you get going pretty fast when you're on a long straight section like that. And then you back through these curves again, and there is just a matter of keeping up with the car in front of you is what I try to do. You can't pass him and you don't want him to lose you, because if he's losing you, the cars in front of you are losing you too. So you want to try and stay with him, and hopefully he'll go fast enough that he'll be catching a car in front of him, which means that you're still advancing as well. So anyhow, as we're coming down the hill over here, we got the bridge to go over again, which is always a nice place to pass. I find that when you first get onto the bridge, they zip away a little bit on you, but then they seem to slow down. And when they do that, if you just stay on it, you can get by them, but you got to be close enough behind them, of course, because if you're too far back, we're too far back of this guy. By the time I catch up to him, we're going to be at the end of the bridge, and there again, you got the corner coming up, and you're doing 250 kilometers an hour. You're not going to make that corner if you're still increasing your speed by trying to pass this guy. So be aware of where the corners are, slow down before them, and then once you come out of the corner, the straight section is always coming up like this here. That's when you hammer down, and that's when you take it. Now this guy happens to be pretty fast. He's really hard to catch up to. See, by the time we catch him, well, we're going to have just enough time, I think, to get by. And we gotta hammer the brakes to be able to slow down in time for this corner right here. Well, we just managed to do it. And we're still keeping it on the track, so we're doing okay. We're moving up in the pack. But there again, we won't know what position we have until we go into the pit stop when the display will be on. with the display turned off, you don't know what lap you're in. You don't. And the Opel Fed always forgets to count the cars that he's passing. That's just a normal thing. But he keeps track of the laps. So as long as he keeps track of the laps, then at least we know when we got to go in for fuel. We got one more to go, one more lap to go, because this is the end of the third lap. Like I said, these laps, they're fairly lengthy, but you start to get involved in the race and any kind of plan of attack, you lose all sense of time of where you are and how fast the laps are actually shooting by. So keep that in mind. The 8 laps sounds like a lot, but it's over before you know it. Just don't forget to go in for fuel. Now, in this particular race, like I said before at the beginning, I know we can do more than 4. So if we did happen to miss pit entrance, then we just go 5 laps and go in there. You know, that's not a big, and that's the nice thing when you have a race where you know you can almost do all the laps in one tank. Then it's whenever it's most convenient for you, you go in. You can change your mind in the middle of the race if that's what you want to do. Whatever you like. It's all up to you. I always kind of like to split it in half. You know, gives you a little bit of a break in the middle of the race. When you come out, the first lap is done in no time, and then your race is almost finished. Anyhow, we are getting close to the end of this lap. Well, we still have a little ways to go yet, but it's certainly shooting by awful quick. And coming around the corner here, we still got to go over the bridge and a nice long straight section. Now, when you've got a nice long straight section like that, and if you have trouble setting the pace properly like I do, what I usually do is when I have the straight section where I know that I'm not going to get into any kind of trouble, that's when I hammer down and try to make up a little bit of extra time. That way I can take it a little bit easier through the corners and make sure I navigate them the way I should. So it's just put the pressure on when it's a little bit easier to take, like when you come around this corner here and you rev that baby up to 350 kilometers an hour right here. It's okay, you got a nice long straight section before you have to worry about anything. Now we're going to get by this guy, and it looks like there's a few more up ahead there. Not quite sure how many, you can't really tell. But you know there's still cars in front of you. And we're going to be going into the pits here when we go in. So we know we're not in first place, but we knew that anyhow. I think there's 3 cars over there. See, and there again, like these corners, I take it a little bit slower around these corners and go faster down the straights. And when you do that, every once in a while, you have that happen to you. And he comes shooting by you, and I never even knew that he was right on my tail, stayed right with me. But that just goes to show you that when I don't have a lead, I drive too slow. I got to try and fix that and go a little bit faster when I don't have the lead. But we'll work on that. That gives us something to practice. Now we're going to go in for some fuel, and we're going to change the tires regardless. Now, the tires are not bad. They could probably last another 4 laps. But we're going to change them anyhow. When we came out in 5th position, we probably did not have enough fuel for the whole 8 laps. I don't think we did. So we're going to fill it right up, put new tires on there. Let's go, boys, back out. We're in 8th. We left the pit in 8th position, 4 laps left to go. Now, as you know, there's no point in there's only a point in counting the cars in this first lap. And then after that, the ones that you might have to pass are in the pit stop, not in the pit stop. You don't know. So we're not going to know again until the end of the race. But that's okay. Maybe one way or another they should have like a positional spot on the track on the screen where it flashes whether you're in 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place. It'd be kind of nice. you know. Anyhow, maybe that's what they should work on so that we can tell. And even a lap counter too. On some of the VGT cars, they do have lap counters and they have positional spot on the track on their display on the screen. And it's really cool. This one doesn't have that, but that's okay. 6th lap. And we came out of the pit in 8th place, so 7 cars in front of us. That's not too tall an order, especially considering we started 20th with 19 cars in front of us, so we've put 13 behind us. So, with a little bit of a push, we do a couple here, a couple there. We've got, like I said, we've got 4 laps to go, and they're decent length, as you've seen. And there's some great places to pass, like coming up right here. You have to have a little bit of patience and drive with them, sit behind them until you get to a spot like this, you know. But when you get to a spot like this, you've got to take advantage of it, because if you don't, the cars that are in the lead are getting further and further away. So the longer you wait to try and catch up to them, the bigger the distance, the harder it is to going to be able to catch up to them, pass them, and win, if that's what you want. Now this race is a winner just driving. Like, this is just absolutely fantastic. I love this race. And this car is fantastic. I think I've driven it once before in a race, but that was quite a while back. I can't remember it all that well, so this was a real joy to have this on the track here today. Ripping 8 laps and having to go for a fuel stop, that's really enjoyable. I never used to like them kind of races where you had to go in for fuel, you had to try and make some sort of a plan. But you know, it's not that difficult, and if you push yourself through it and you try it a few times, you'll find out you're really going to enjoy it. And if you have the opportunity to do all this in VR, oh, so much the better. Absolutely awesome in VR. It's like you're sitting in the race car itself, coming around the corner, going down the stretch at the homestand, finishing lap number 5. So 3 more to go, and pass another car with this grease lightning machine. Absolutely fantastic. Coming around the corner here is another section, again nice and straight. Now the one problem I always have too, when, like at this point now, we have absolutely no idea. We're in lap number 6, and we have no idea whether we're leading or whether there's 1 car in front of us, whether there's 2 cars in front of us. Well, there's one anyhow, because I think I just saw one over there. But if you didn't see him, you have to keep racing to see if there's another guy in front of you. It'd be really nice to know if you were the one that everybody was chasing rather than chasing an imaginary car. But for the time being, we got one that we can see. He's not in our imagination, he's on the track right in front of us. He's fast. Oh, I think there was another one in front of him, I believe. Did we see something else? Yeah, there's 2 cars in front of us. So you see, 3rd is probably where we're sitting at this moment, 3rd or 4th, somewhere in that area. But we've got that bridge coming up, and that's always a nice place to pass. And then we got that big long straight section coming up. So that's going to help us out. Now here, like I keep saying here, just be patient, come around the corner, get completely out of the turn. You got lots of space to pass these guys. Now we're getting a little close to the corner, so we'll just hang on with him until we get to the straight section. We'll pass him there. But he doesn't look like he's going to be able to go as fast as we can. Just around the corner here. What a race! What a race! Just love it. Now here we punch it. Is fast. Wow. He was fast. He was hard to get. Now, does it look like there's another car way in front? I thought I saw something, but I wasn't sure. hard to see when it's way in the distance. Maybe I was wrong in that. But we're gonna try hard. Oh no, I was right. There was a car up there. Just looking around the corner. No, can't see him there. No. That's the hard thing about when the track goes back and forth. You can't see far enough ahead. But there he is. Now we can. And we see him. We're going to catch up to him. We're going to catch up to him right at about the end of the 6th lap. Beginning of the 7th lap. 2 laps left to go. And this guy is going to put, once we get by him, it's going to take a little bit. He's going to put us one step closer to first place. If not in first place, we don't know. But we're going to keep ripping, going to keep going as hard as we can in case there's another guy in front of him. You know, like this lap and the next one is all we got left. It would be a shame if there was a guy still half a lap ahead of us that we could catch in time. And then we just kind of hang back. We don't want to do that. We don't want that guy we just passed come zipping by us because we're going too close or too slowly, you know, and he slowly catches up to us and we don't see him in the rearview mirror. We don't want that happening. Not again. That's happened enough times to the Opel Fed. We really don't enjoy that part. So we're going to keep the pedal to the metal and keep ripping. Now we can't see anybody ahead of us. But there again, like I said, always pretend you're number 2. And that way, if you're number 1, you won't be disappointed. There you go. We got to be about, halfway through this lap, so a lap and a half. A lap and a half to go. I don't think there's anybody else in front of us. And that's the other thing you got to remember. If you're leading and there's nobody in front of you, or if you know, or if you think you know that there's nobody in front of you, don't drive too wild and erratic. That's where the problem comes in. You need to push. Don't push so hard that you're going to spin out or you're going to drive off the track, overshoot the corner. Which is why I always end up slowing down too much in the corners when I'm leading, because I don't want to overshoot them. Because overshooting them would be even worse, because then when you run off the track, you're probably going to have 2 or 3 cars pass, and by the time you get back on the track, it'll be too late. There won't be enough time to catch them anymore. Especially at this stage of the game that we're in right now in this race. We are almost at the end of the 7th lap, and we've got 1 lap left to go. And we're coming around the corner here. Pretty quick, we're going to be heading down the home stretch here, a little back and forth area. And I think by the grandstand, if we still don't see any cars ahead of us, I think we can pretty well assume that we're leading this race at the moment. So we'll take a look and see when we get to the end of this lap. What a great track to drive on too, though. When you use the full width of the track, you just kind of slide through the corners. A little bit of brake here, a little bit of brake there, and she just roars. Absolutely fantastic. Now here's the end of the lap. I don't see anybody in front of us. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't anybody, but there's a pretty good chance that we're leading. So let's just see if we can keep the hammer down and just shoot through these corners nice and easy. Slow down for the corners, don't spin out. And drive a nice clean race this last lap, and hopefully we'll be taking the checkered flag. Boy, I tell you, if you ever have the opportunity to drive any cars really, in VR, and give it a shot, because it is it's game changing. It changed the way, ever since I got the VR headset, that's the only way I play my Gran Turismo races now. I never thought I'd enjoy it as much as I do, but it really is, it has been worth it. It has been a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of enjoyment sharing these videos with you, and I hope that you guys get us even half of what I get out of it. I'd be very happy. I'd be very happy. Anyhow, we are coming up to about halfway through the last lap. Gotta go over that bridge again. I love that big long straight section where you can just open it up and you can get it to, I think I had it going one time 353 kilometers was the fastest I had it going there, and it was fun. It was almost like he was getting ready to take off and fly. Very enjoyable. But I do believe we're in the lead. Because if we weren't, if there was still another car in front of us, I'm sure we would have seen him by now. We haven't seen anything. So we're going to hammer down on this last straight section. Try not to fly off the side of the track. And when we get to the end, this straight section, we're almost there. What a fantastic race. Really, really enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed this one as well. Maybe got some tips or tricks out of it. Or maybe you just came just to watch for the fun of it. Be careful, because that's the way the Opafet started, and look at me now. We're sitting here playing games and just having a ball. It's a lot of fun and very enjoyable to do. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you back at Opafet Gaming again real soon. In the meantime, you've been driving in a Mazda LM55 VGT at the Circuit de Sainte-Croix on the C track. With me as the driver, the Opafet.